Hello all, in this video I'm going to take you through the making of this step stool for the workshop. A super simple, no joinery construction made from scrap plywood rips and some elm timber from logs that were destined to be firewood. The ply rip construction is basically the same as the modular workshop cabinet I made a video on recently. A two-parter that one, and if you haven't seen it already, I'll make sure they pop up at the end. Could even save you some material. Like the cabinet, it starts at the beginning where the beginning began by making a bunch of rips. 38mm this time round, to make best use of the material I have left. As ever with my workshop builds from scraps, I don't have a set design or plan. I do have an idea of what I want, but what material I have is leading the way. All I drew was this to remind me I wanted the stool to have a sliding step, and how that might work. Again, same as with the cabinet, I'm creating a set of L-shaped legs by supergluing two pieces together. It's all 12mm ply I'm using, so one piece is 38mm wide, the perpendicular piece is 26. This just makes it an even 38mm both sides. It's not just the superglue holding it either. It's mainly screws that will be doing the work. The superglue just allows me to quickly tack things in place so I can crack on and get this built quickly. I've sized some long legs, and here, based off of the long leg length, I'm cutting some shorter ones half size. I went with this length for all my side stretchers too to keep things simple. Most of the pieces figured out and cut, I can start marking and sticking pieces together. Super glue for the initial hold, as it is for every join you'll see me make on this stool. With the accelerant, the glue sets almost immediately, so I can move straight on to adding screws to each join piece. I pre-drill for all the screws, even through two faces, as I don't want to risk an unpiloted screw pushing the two pieces apart should the glue not be quite set inside. I use two staggered screws for each join where possible. Here I'm attaching a front leg of the main stool. You'll notice it's just a single ply rip, not an L shape like at the rear. This is just to allow for the sliding step. A square and a spare rip help me get things true before applying accelerant. Then, more screws. That's the sides of the main stool done. I have a board sat in the vise to butt the bottom of the side frames up to. Glue already on, I seat the rear stretcher, joining the two sides together. Will take in shape quite quickly now. It does look a bit flimsy at the minute, but fear not. Before making the step, I'm adding a front stretcher low down on the front legs to cut down on flex and twist a little. I have a spare rip in place to sit the one being fixed on top of. Once again, this gets secured with double screws through piloted holes. Piloting more important here as I'm screwing into the ply edge. It's not so much that it will split if you don't, more that the screws can throw an alignment off as it nestles itself between the plies. So that's the main stool frame done. Now onto the step. Exactly as you've seen already, pieces super glued in place, then screwed. Here you can see my simple method to have the step slide in and out is to use the stretcher on the main stool frame as a runner. The piece already attached to the step leg will slide under the runner, and the wooden slats for the step, added last, will run above the runner. This double width piece will attach to the inside cheek of the step to both keep it in line with the runner and also provide a top edge to fix the slats to. Just like that. Because the slats will affix to the top of this, I'm just checking it seats slightly proud of the runner. It's about 1/2 mil proud, so perfect. With the step side seated in place and clamped to the main frame, I can get a stretcher attached to it. I should say here, as I don't think it shows in this light, but when you see me place all these pieces together, I have been working to pencil marks. Just in case you thought I was just plonking them in place, hoping for the best. This is a rough workshop build, but not that rough. As far as the frames go then, this is the last piece to fit, a little stretcher across the back of the step. In terms of keeping the two sides a set distance apart, that could be done just as well with the top slats alone, but the rearmost slat with the step pulled right out will be doing the bulk of the support. This extra stretcher allows an extra couple of fixings at the back to shore everything up. Once again, like the cabinet that preceded it, the ply frames get a whitewash. This whitewash frame with natural wood features is becoming a bit of a theme in my workshop. Talking of natural wood, all my slats I'm ripping from these small planks of spalted elm. These are from a felled dead tree local to me. All the logs were destined to be firewood, but with permission, I grabbed a load thinking the spalting might make for some interesting feature pieces. Despite processing a load into small planks, I never really used them for anything serious in the 8 years I had them stored. I did eventually use one piece as a feature top for this walnut side table, and just to use it up and get it out of the way, the bulk of it I used for my solid wood workbench top, which I never get bored of looking at. In sizing these pieces, I do so in a way that allows me to do away with any defects or cracks at either end. All but the front slat on the step are a little shorter than those up top. The front slat of the step needs a little cutaway each side to nest properly. I give each slat edge a quick lick or two with a number 4 to remove any saw marks, then use a block plane to ease over the edges. I flip them on upright in the vise to ease over the ends too. Nothing fancy or even particularly uniform about this, just nice and quick with this small batch without having to bother setting up a machine. Same applies to the sanding too, just a few wipes with 120 all round. Smooth enough to use, but quick enough to have made the step stool in a day sort of thing. As with all my workshop furniture, the natural wood gets finished with a coat of wax. Like the cabinet drawers, I'm using the lovely Conorbal wax from Leo at Hand I Craft. This gets a liberal application all around. You may notice there the slats have already been measured and pre-drilled. I started the back with the slats as these are flush to the frame at the rear, with a 4mm overhang each side. 2 screws and no glue in each side of these. With the back one in place, I used a scrap of ply and a square to set the necks to it, and so on. So that's it, 99% done. Just wanted to show you here what I mentioned earlier, that the slats themselves on the step will slide over the runner. You can sort of see the space between them and the rip below is just enough for the 38mm runner. And on it goes. So the very last thing to add, which some of you may have guessed seeing the step slide in and out like that, is a limit stop. For that I've cut 2 little pieces from the elm scraps that I'm fixing with just a single screw, no glue. This will allow me to easily remove the step should I need to at some point. One of these both sides and that's it, all done. Cute looking little thing, isn't it? A nice little partner to my tool stall for working at the benches. It's nice to actually finally have some workshop furniture and furniture I don't mind being around at that. One of my main reasons for making this is I don't have much floor space, so with one of my chairs on the bench I can now easily give the top some attention without having to set it on its side or some such, so I'm chuffed with that. And the opposite is true. When I want to work on something below bench height, no need to crouch on my knackered knees anymore. Like I always seem to say with these workshop builds, I'm glad I finally got round to this. I should have done it much sooner. I suppose a folding affair might have been superior in such a tight space, but as it is, it can quite happily live here behind the table saw when I don't need it. This chair frame, by the way, is the second such black club chair. You may have seen one on my Insta if you follow me there. Although I filmed the build of the very first one, I won't be publishing it. After the posting of my rocking stool recently, it's more obvious than ever that very few of my subscribers are interested in my proper furniture builds. That's all fine. After all, I did build the Bish Bash Bosh channel on the back of tool reviews, hacks and stuff like that. I'll carry on doing that sort of stuff and workshop bits on this channel, but what I'm considering is starting a second channel, one solely based on building my furniture and developing the furniture company. I think it may turn out to be more rewarding building an audience for just that, rather than trying to sell those type of videos to a viewership I've built around just doing tool reviews. The results seem to disappoint both myself and you the viewers. But yeah, no more furniture builds on the Bish Bash Bosh channel. So if you've any thoughts on that, I'd love to hear them. Plus, of course, any comments or questions about the step stool. Like if you did, sub if you aren't already, and as ever, if you've made it this far, thanks for watching.